Hello and welcome to the Creabea Knitting Podcast. Hello, I'm Rebecca, I'm the Creabea, and this is a vlog or a podcast all about knitting, what I'm currently knitting on, what I've been knitting on, and what I'd like to cast on in the not too distant future. And I'm excited because it's pattern launch day and I've got some giveaway winners and I've got like a whole project that I've cast on and cast off since I last spoke to you, and a bunch of new whips and some acquisitions. I have everything, I have all of it. Let's jump right in. Everything next to me is very colourful, which is quite cool, and of course I'm wearing something very colourful already as well, but this is like my stack beside me of very colourful things, rainbow everywhere. I'm looking forward to it. Let me start off with my pattern launch because it's going live today. The Firth sweater is now available and it's also my first finished object because I finished my second sample and I love it so much. So I'll do a quick run into the pattern and then a quick run into the photos. I'm hoping to wear this for the whole episode, however this sweater is so warm, and I'll get into my yarn in a minute. So the Firth sweater is a top down set in sleeve pattern with 2 gauge options. It comes with a pattern fully written out for DK and fully written out for 4ply when you purchase it, and it also has 3 different bust shaping options. So there's no bust shaping, which is up to a B cup, there's up to a D cup, and then up to an F cup. This is what it looks like. So the major detail of this is all the ribbing that's going on. It has this really fun ribbing that kind of grows out from the arm and then like a deeper rib at the bottom, and that's also reflected on the back. So it's a fairly simple pattern, but I feel like I really refined this one with the details and like all the little things that are going on, which I am really proud of myself for. It feels like a bit of an achievement as a designer to be able to do something really classic and simple and do it well. At least in my opinion, I've done it well. So I have 2 samples. This is my very first one. I knit this with Drops Alpaca and Knitting for Olive mohair. I love Drops Alpaca. It's definitely my favourite yarn from Drops, and I think I've said this before, but I think I should look into other brands that do 100% alpaca yarn, but I love an alpaca and a mohair. It's my dream sweater combination. It does not pill. I don't know what it is about it, but this is my 4th sweater in this combination in some kind of alpaca and mohair combo. None of them have pilled. Some of them I've had for maybe now like 4 years and I've worn every single day of winter just about, and they do not pill and they just stay looking really fresh, and I think it's one of the reasons I love it so much. So yeah, I love this. So I think the red is maybe just red from Drops, and then it's the blood orange mohair from Knitting for Olive, which is a really like orange red. In fact, you can almost see on the, I don't know if you can see that, but if you can see the core of the mohair, it's almost like an orange colour. And this one then is glorious. This version is knit in, both my versions are the DK versions. This one is knit in Sunday Fibre Co, which was a new to me dyer. It's the first time I've used her yarn and I would hands down order again. I bought it myself, in no way sponsored, and I didn't even buy this yarn with this being the intention, but then when I was looking for a second sample and I wanted something in DK mohair, I knew I had this hand-dyed sweater quantity. I think I bought this around about Christmas time last year. I could be completely wrong. I think she's based in Canada. She did an update called the True Colours update, and they were all like really beautiful solid tones. I did not do any skein management. I probably should have. I just knit straight from balls as they were. So that's probably like a don't do what I did, but for me it worked and I'm happy. I'm not going to fuss around too much with helical knitting if I don't have to, and I decided that they were so even toned that I would just go ahead. So I used I can't remember what dyers do this when they like, and I have no hate to dyers for it, but I'm not holding that information in my head, where they like rename bases. So there's like a slinky, sock, and all these things. I have no idea what it's called, but I know that it's the non-superwash 4ply and it's the Suri alpaca lace weight yarn. It is so warm. It's surprising to me that the comparison of this, which is alpaca mohair, and this, which is wool mohair, but from them, the alpaca's extra fluffy. Sorry, the mohair is extra fluffy, and I don't know if you can see, I have no idea if it's translating on camera. The halo on this sweater is like it's standing out on end. I have a mirror on this wall here and the light is from here, and if I stand in front of the mirror I look like I'm glowing from the light going behind me because there's just so much glow on this. So I love this one. I think the colour is beautiful. I got the pictures back. I'll put a few pictures in here as I'm talking because the pictures were so good. But I'll put the pictures there, and something I really loved is this is a fairly new to me colour. It's not a colour I don't think I've knit with. I've got a few blues, but like this sort of paler blue. But I think it does really good things for my skin tone and my hair, which I wouldn't have like expected it to, but I feel like I wear this and like felt like I look very healthy in the photos, which is a nice way for pictures to make you feel. So that is the Firth. You can use Firth 10, F-I-R-T-H 10 for 10% off until Sunday evening. If you're a newsletter subscriber, you get an extra discount, and that should already be in your inbox. Because I should have sent that before I uploaded this video, if I'm organised today. So I'm going to try and keep this on. My office is pretty chilly, so I think it'll be fine. But I was a bit concerned that if it was a hot day and I was wearing this, I wouldn't be able to keep wearing this version. I had to switch to my red because it is so hot. So we took the pictures on Sunday just past. We went to South Queensferry, which is, I guess, like a suburb of Edinburgh. It's not far from the city centre. You can get like a bus there or a train there, but you get into like the regional buses, like not the normal buses. And from my house it was like a 40-minute drive, and I picked up a bunch of knitters on the way because I knew we were going further afield and I wanted to travel any extra, so I picked up, I had a full car, and there ended up being 11 of us taking pictures. 11! That's so many people! It is the biggest photo shoot we've done. And Jasmine, who is the photographer, who's taken so many, all of my group pictures, anything that's got more than 2 people in them, Jasmine has taken them. Everything else is my partner Sam, but all of the group ones, and then she's done like the toaster and things, but she's amazing. And for the first time ever, she was also a test knitter, so she test knit the pattern, and she was a photographer too. So there's only like one group shot that she's in because we set up a tripod. But other than that, yeah, it was so nice to have so many of us. It was a very like joyful day. I had so much fun. We went for coffee afterwards. I had ice cream, and it was just really nice. And it was fun because it happened before when we did the Corin pictures, which is a lace weight cardigan, not a lace weight, a lace textured cardigan that came out 3 years ago, more than 3 years ago, where there were 6 of us, and somehow we were a rainbow. Like we managed to be a rainbow. And it happened again. So this time there were 11 of us and we had a rainbow of colours, which was so fun. We went to South Queensferry because the bridge, the Queensferry crossing, or the Forth Rail Bridge, they're 2 different things. The Forth Rail Bridge, there are 3 bridges there and they all have different names, but they all go from the same place to the same place. One carries cars, one carries foot passengers, and one carries the train. And the train one is the most iconic, and it's red and it has all these like cables. I did some reading to try and make sure I was calling them the right things, and I still don't know what they're called. But all like the crossing over of the bars really reminded me of this. So that is where Firth came from, because the bridge crosses the Firth of Forth. So many things to say about that. I had a great day. Overall, it was amazing. Had a really nice time, and I'm really happy this pattern is out, and I think there's some enthusiasm. I'm recording on Friday afternoon, which is late for me. I usually record a day or 2 ahead of it going live. But I woke up today and people are already swatching and the pattern is not out. So that makes me nervous, but also mostly makes me quite excited. Yeah. Oh, bust shaping. So now I think all of my set and sleeve designs have bust shaping, and that's just because it's just so much more fitted around here. Like a raglan, you've maybe got a bit of extra fabric to play with, and a drop shoulder, you've got a lot of extra fabric to deal with, but I feel like with a set and sleeve, there's not really any extra fabric. And so the Cara wrap, this, and the Kathy Cardi, I knew it was in my brain there, all have bust shaping options, because I feel like once you get more fitted, if you've got a bigger bust, you're going to really notice that there's not space for it. So we did bust shaping here, and there were 3 people in the photos of bust shaping, and it was very cool to see the bust shaping like live and in person and see how much of a difference it made. So I don't know if you're familiar with bust shaping, there we go. I just wanted to drop in what bust shaping means. So bust shaping is adding extra fabric to the front of the pattern. I don't need bust shaping, I'm not busty. But you basically add extra fabric to the front of the pattern through increases and then decrease them out under the bust. It's just super simple increases and decreases. And like sometimes it can be in pattern. For the Kathy cardigan, that's all over lace and cables, and so the it's like in pattern over the bust, whereas here it's just plain stockinette. The way to know, now I think it's listed on the pattern page and it's definitely included in the pattern, but to know if you should or if you could use bust shaping, you can measure your upper bust and your full bust. You can Google those measurements and it'll show you exactly how to do it. And it's really, really simple. You just work out the difference. So you take your full bust measurement and you subtract your upper bust measurement. If the number is less than 5 centimetres or 2 inches, you do not need bust shaping. For me, it is less than 5 centimetres. I don't need bust shaping. If the number is more than 5 centimetres, so there's more than 5 centimetres or 2 inches between your upper bust and your full bust, you might benefit from bust shaping. For my patterns, my incredible, wonderful tech editor, whose name is also Rebecca, has done a bunch of courses and is honestly just a genius. And she writes all my bust shaping. So I've learned about bust shaping because they're in my patterns, but I personally have not knit bust shaping because I don't need it in my patterns. But there was such good feedback on this one. There's always good feedback on the bust shaping, but this one people were like, wow. And I think there were a lot of testers who did bust shaping for the first time with this pattern and really noticed the difference. So yeah, that was really cool. Overall, it felt like a very empowering pattern. I feel like having so many people there, and for me it felt like a bit of a level up in terms of my designing and like nailing certain fit issues, not fit issues, but like nailing the fit, nailing the details. That felt like a level up for me, which is very empowering. Having other people there, and then I think there's always something really nice as a designer when you get feedback about how good something fits. Like that's ultimately what you want. And sometimes, like, you know, you've got an oversized sweater that's kind of boxy, you're not going to get that feedback on those really because it's not really the goal. But when it's about fitting, and like, it's nice to get that feedback. So I'm feeling really positive about this one. I will move on. So that was the Firth. I had a great time. I'm glad that it's starting to get into sweater weather and I can finally start wearing some of these. It feels like there's a little while to wait until I'm actually fully in sweater weather territory. Currently I'm in the territory where I wake up in the morning, I put on a sweater, and then I sweat all afternoon. Especially, I feel like if you're a knitter, you're wearing wool generally, I think, or maybe even like wool and mohair, and that feels so good in the morning, and then it turns to like 2 o'clock and you're drenched in sticky mohair. It's horrible. But do I do it every morning? I still do. Okay, I meant to last time announce the final winners for the Take Me to the Beach Cal, and I forgot to do it last time. So there will be a winner drawn from Instagram, from Ravelry, and from Discord, and I will place all 3 of those people down below. Those will be the final 3 winners, so drop me a message, either an email or an Instagram message, and I will sort out getting yarn to you and getting patterns to you. The prize for that is a sweater quantity, or like a t-shirt, a summer knit pattern. Goodness. The prize for that is a summer pattern that qualified, so like all the Take Me to the Beach patterns, and the yarn required to knit that pattern in your size. There we go. Only took 2 attempts. It was really fun seeing everyone. It was really nice on Instagram. I love running. I always feel like I'm not very good at running knit-alongs because I feel like I'm never quite as involved in like replying to everything as I always am. It feels a bit overwhelming sometimes, but it was lovely to see so many people taking part, and I'm glad I got to send some prizes out. I know prizes have arrived from last time. So if you did take part in any of those places, check in the bar below and the description below, and the giveaway winners will be there. Okay, I think from here on out we're into regularly scheduled programming. Pattern launch done, giveaway winners done. Now we're just going to talk about everything I've knit, or I'm knitting on. And you may or may not be surprised to hear it's a reasonable number of things. So let's talk about my flying on and flying off the needles projects. I always have some deadlines. I always have some knits that have deadlines that have to be done by a certain time because they're going into testing, they need to get to my tech editor, there's photos, like I feel like there's always deadline knits, and sometimes they feel quite high pressure and I've got to get things done very quickly or in a short amount of time. A lot of the time, especially the way I'm structured now where I'm planning so far ahead, that's not really the case, but there's always like something in the back of my head. I finished this sweater I only at the time I think had 2 more things on my needles, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna blow off some steam. And what way does a knitter blow off some steam? Then cast on a project on a whim with no deadlines and then finish it in 4 days. Ta-da! So I bought some yarn. I've shown this yarn before, I will say. There is an extra ball. I have no idea where it is. I can't find it anywhere. I checked my order confirmation. I bought 5 balls. I can't find it. And we did a yarn swap at knit night on Monday. So I last weekend went through every single skein of yarn in every single box in my yarn room, and I couldn't find it. So I have no idea where it's gone. But I'm on the TikTok with the kids, with all the Gen Zers. Really just being an imposter, but I'm there, and they're all obsessed with this yarn. And me being the wannabe cool kid that I am, I bought the yarn. Now the yarn is called Lang Cloud. It is, I wish I had that extra ball to show you. It is a blown yarn. It's a little like Drops Air vibes, or like Sandnesgarn Poppy. I'm trying to think if it's the same Snefnug. I can't remember if Snefnug is blown or not, or if it's more fuzzy. Anyway, it's got like this polyester, and then it's blown in with fibres. And the magic of Lang Cloud is that they have colourways, which are all like random numbers. I'm pretty sure this is colourway 13. However, there is no standard repeat through the colourway. So this was all knit with 4 balls of yarn. And as far as I'm aware, I knit 4 balls of this, I can find absolutely no pattern repeat. I'm assuming they just like fill a big bucket with lots of all the fibres and they just like blow it in and see what happens. That's how I'm picturing it. So here's what it looks like. As I said, the cool kids on the TikTok are knitting with it a lot. There is a user whose name I actually don't know, but her username is Violent Cat Lady, who like works quite closely with Lang, and I think quite often has like pre-orders for some of their bases, who has really led the charge in the obsession over this yarn, and who has great patterns. So if you're interested in this yarn and you're interested in knitting with it, that is a great place to go. I know a lot of people also knit the Petite Knit Cloud sweater with it. Here's the challenge, and here's where like I couldn't just be basic and just cast on and see what happened, because it colour changes, which is glorious, right? The colour change is fantastic. It's the joy of the pattern. However, each section of yarn is like approximately the same width. So like you've got like this much of blue, and then this much of pink, and then this much of orange, etc. So I cast on a while back, but I just cast on for like a lusk at a bigger gauge, and I was like, I'll see what happens. And then I realised that wasn't really going to work, because in order for the pattern to stay consistent, I need each section of the pattern to be approximately the same stitch count. So the easiest thing to do would be like cast on a raglan, but then it's a bit like pulling yarn, like it's a bit like knitting with like a variegated yarn where it would pull very differently. So up here, my stripe, if I did it a raglan, my stripe width up here as I'm increasing it would change, and then the body would be different, and then the sleeves would have much thicker stripes because my stitch count was so much lower. So all of this stressed me out a little bit, and really, I mean, stress me out is a relative term. It was not that stressful, but it was playing in my mind, and I really wanted to knit this in a way where I had some consistency, because I've seen some glorious ones, and I don't want to take away from anyone's patterns that I've seen online, but I don't enjoy, for me, when the body is done and then the sleeves have like the sleeve stripes are like this thick and the body stripes are this thick per colour. I think it just looks wrong. There are ways I could have done it. I could have like cut out a lot of yarn on the sleeves, and I ended up doing a little bit of that, but ultimately I decided just to work it in a way that meant that each section had around about the same stitch count. So I worked it from the bottom up, and I worked it in panels. Can you believe that? I seamed this. I don't do that. So that says a lot. So I worked it in panels. I knit the front, and then I knit the back. You can see the seam line there. It was actually really easy to seam. I should stop complaining about it because it was super easy. Yeah, I seamed the front and the back, so they were different obviously, but they had approximately the same amounts. I think I knit to the underarm, decided which one I liked more, and then chose that to be the front. I just find the front is a little bit more vibrant than the back. Honestly, not that much, but there's this really fun like bright orangey red yellow stripe on the front I liked. And then I kind of loosely followed the Corin cardigan pattern, which sounds odd, but it's also a 15 stitch gauge. So my neckline shaping, while it's a cardigan, I followed the neckline shaping for the Corin as if it was a sweater, and I just cast off at the front and did the same decreases the way I would there, and the back panel is exactly the same as the back panel for the Corin, because I was like, it's the same gauge, it's fine. It worked really well, which is a little funny, but that's how it worked. It's a proper drop shoulder, so a real long drop, comes down to like here, knit the sleeves flat. Sorry, knit the sleeves without any shaping. Picked up for the collar, I folded it over, I used the colours I don't like on the inside of the collar. And I did have to, when I cast off at this neck and I had the two shoulders to work, I did cut some yarn out. I found that the very, very dark sections, like some of the really, like dark blues, or there was like a grey that was really dark, they were exceptionally long. So I found myself cutting some of those out. And the same with some of the almost white sections were very long. So I cut some of those out. So I think overall I cut maybe 40 grams, about 10 grams a ball. It's a reasonable amount, but I'm okay with it. And then I picked up for the sleeves and just knit them in the round. I did consider knitting them flat because I thought it is going to change the way the yarn goes. Like knitting like this will give a different effect to knitting like this. But I decided I didn't care that much. The stripe width was all I really cared about. So it's finished. It's super cozy. I really like it. If there was another colourway in the yarn that I liked, I would probably order another one because it was fun. That being said, I think this is like the best colour they have, in my opinion. I like it the most. I got my yarn from Linda Hobby. It's kind of hard to get a hold of. It's not super widely stocked, and I think it's always in quite high demand. I put on a notification about it, and then it came back in stock and I ordered it straight away, and that was maybe 6 months ago. They do have some colours in stock, but not this colour. I've worn it pretty much every day this week. It has already started to pill. I'm not mad about that. I know that soft yarn pills. That's just what soft yarn does. I think the test will be, does it depill well? I don't really mind if yarn, I mean, sometimes it's annoying if you know, there's sometimes sweaters where you like look at them and they pill, and that can just be hard to manage. But if a sweater pills over time and you have to debubble it, I'm kind of okay with it. I think it's just what you get when you use a soft yarn. And it was so much fun. Look at this, it's just so much fun. So yeah, I would recommend. I ended up knitting it a 15 stitch gauge, so it flew, and I used 4 balls, and I think, I will say, I probably manipulated with blocking more than I should have, and I would not have done this if it was for like any formal pattern, but I found myself stretching out the body a little bit and then not bothering stretching out the sleeves. So I think that the body is probably more like a 14 stitch gauge because it got that oversized fit I was looking for, whereas the sleeves are more to pattern. So it was a big lesson of like just having fun and not really worrying too much about anything other than the colour changes, but I really like the sweater. It feels very like early noughties rom-com. It's giving like a little bit of like Buffy the Vampire Slayer vibes, like cool sidekick best friend, a little bit Gorilla Girl, all those things wrapped into one, and I like it a lot. I wore it to Knit Night this week and I got lots of compliments, and I think it'll be one that I'll wear quite a lot, providing it doesn't turn into a pilling disaster. If it does do that, I will report back. But for now, it's not done it yet. So that's my Land Cloud sweater. It was a lot of fun. It's fairly pricey yarn. It's like £17 a ball. Now, if you think about knitting a sweater that was like fingering weight in mohair, and like it wouldn't be that crazy expensive, but I guess like £16 a ball. I used 4. I probably would have been more comfortable with a 5th one. That's quite an expensive sweater. But it is pretty cool. It's expensive for commercial, let's say that. Okay. I have one more finished object, but it's not really a finished object, but that's fine because I've got an acquisition to go with it. So, as I mentioned last time, every year I do some charity patterns. They come out around about Christmas time. These ones are coming out mid-November, and I think there will be 3 of them. I've already finished my scarf. I'll put a picture here. I'm trying to think, do I have a picture of it? I think I do. Put it here. And then there's going to be a hot water bottle cover, which I have not finished. I'm not even cast it on yet. Who am I kidding? I cast on another Colorwork project. I don't like having more than one project with the same technique at the same time. So when my Colorwork project is finished, I will cast on my final sample for this. That's okay. And a bag. So the scarf is done. The bag is now almost done. here's what it looks like. So it looks a little silly with nothing in it. So I'm gonna like, if I can put my finished object in it, I think it might be easier to see what the bag looks like. There we go. It's now containing a Firth sweater. So it has this double knit base, which is actually not my original plan, and then I like had a brainwave about it, and I'm really glad I did because it made the base. I think otherwise it would have no structure. And then I picked up all around the base, and then there's Kintra Colorwork. So I just used 5 colours, 1, 2, 3, 5 colours, oh 6 colours, 5 colours. So 4 plus the main colour. And then at the top there is, here, this is folded over, and I have to feed some I-cords through it. The reason it's not finished is because I haven't made my I-cords yet. So I will make my I-cords and then finish it. I modelled this bag on my favourite bags right now, which are the Milla bag from Fibre. They've got the ties and the thing, so like the square base concept was from there because I've been using it so much. It's so cute. I really, really like doing this. It was so fast. Sorry, I thought I made a mistake there, and I've not made a mistake, but I panicked that I had. And I think it's a really fun way to use up some scraps, and I think it looks really cute. And I was a little concerned, like, should I be doing lining? But I think one of my takeaway is that because the colourwork folds are so small, things are not catching on that. So it makes for a really fun bag. So I would use it as a project bag, but you could use it for anything, I guess. There we go. A few things to know. My dye lot for my base colour, can you tell? I don't know if I should show up on camera more than anywhere else. This colour and this colour are not the same, but luckily by the time the colourwork started you can't really notice. I was panicking a little bit, but I was like, why am I panicking about this? It's not a big deal, it's just a bag. So it was fine. I think it took me the same amount of time to knit the base as it did to take the whole rest of the bag. Because it's double knitting, it just takes a little bit longer. The rest of it flew super fast. I think I finished it in maybe 2 evenings. The reason I've not finished it off with the I-cord is because I got a fun new gadget. I got an I-cord maker. Now I think these are fairly common, but what I thought was interesting about this one is, so I got this on Etsy. I'll include the shop down below. They're based in the UK. What is cool, I've not worked out how to use it yet, which is why there's no I-cord on it yet. I have a few like tutorials open. I just have to go watch, so I'm not done. But what's cool about this one is that it has these like 3 pins around the outside. Not pins, they are nuts and bolts. Nuts and bolts. I present to you my nut and bolt. And they go in those like 3 holes. And then you can take this apart. And then you have the pins that are the parts from the, because an I-cord maker ultimately just is like, these are pins from a knitting machine. I don't know how knitting machines work, but I know that these are pins from a knitting machine. And so what's cool about this is, it has 4, but you could reduce it to 3 or to 2, which I quite like. And then also it has all these slots along it. So you could, if you wanted like a 3, but you wanted it to use it for like a chunky yarn, I guess, you could put more space between them. So like you could have 3 there, but then I don't know if I'm showing this very well. You could move that along and you could move these further apart, and then you could use it for a thicker yarn. Does that make sense? So you can make these pins further apart to make more space, and then again you also could just add an extra pin. So you can use it for a 2, a 3, or a 4 cord holder, and you can use it for thick or thin yarn. So I've seen a lot of these pop up. I know a lot of people have like various ones. I know it's like a thing, but I just thought I would share this one because I've always struggled knowing, firstly, like I don't know which one I'm meant to buy. And then like, do you buy one for every weight of yarn? Do you buy one for a 2-stitch or a 3-stitch or whatever holder? I realised I should have put these into this side first, so I'm just going to put this to the side and deal with this after. And I bought the purple one, but they had lots of colours, and they had like maybe some ones with icons on them, I can't remember. It was less than £20, so it exists out there. I will include the link below. I don't think it's I know that in the market this Size Inclusive Collective made a cordsmith, and like that was a very popular tool, but I don't think it's, I've forgotten the word. I don't think it was there. I don't think they were the first people to ever come up with the concept. I think they popularised it in the knitting world. But I like this one because, that word's going to annoy me, starts with a P. Like, champagne is only champagne if it comes from champagne. What is that word? It's gonna come back to me. So yeah, I felt like this offered something that one didn't. Otherwise I would have just purchased that one. But I like the fact that it was lots of different options, and that I could, yeah, various stitches, various sizes of I-cord and sizes of yarn, weight of yarn. So that is pending. Yeah, I have a lot of videos saved on how to do it. I just need to go and do it now. So once I have that, I will be putting some I-cords in my drawstring. It's currently 2 separate ones. So I have to decide if I want to just put one I-cord all the way through and tie it just at one end, or if I want to put one through each end. I've not decided yet. But I will, if I finish that by next time, which I should, although this is one of those jobs that you need to just do and then you never do because it's just the last thing waiting to happen. And you come back to it in 3 years and you're like, oh yeah, this is almost done. I just need to do that one thing. No, I have to take pictures of this at some point, so I will finish it. Okay, let's move on to whips. And then I've only got like a few acquisitions. I only have 3 whips, guys. 3. Only 3. That to me is just wild. And I will say they are all autumnal coloured. So if you are still clinging on to the last dregs of summer, or if you're just going into summer in the southern hemisphere, I'm sorry, I'm probably not your vibe today. But that's alright. Okay, let's start with this one first. This is a bag from Fibre. I love these bags. I have a lot of these bags now. I find that they work for most weights. I've bought them all. I didn't get, none of these were gifted. I just spent too much money on them. The website is not in my currency. So usually I don't see how expensive it is until I check out, and then I'm like, oh, already done. Uh-oh. And I have a bad habit of making these my, I think I did it 3 times over the course of 6 months, where I had a pattern launch day and then I like got myself a few bags as like 2, you can't just order one because then you're paying for shipping. So I got like 2 bags as a pattern launch day gift to myself. I won't be ordering anymore for a while because I have a lot now. I have maybe 6 or 7. Okay, the first project is something I'm very excited about. I want it to be done because I want to wear it. It is in this yarn combination, which is Knitting for Olive Merino in the colour Burnt Orange, and Knitting for Olive Pure Silk Mohair in the colour Burnt Orange. And it's something you may be familiar with. It's a Lanark, which is a pattern which I released many moons ago. No, that's not true, like 3 years ago. Which is a quarter zip sweater. I keep trying to find the word for that and then blanking on the word sweater. It's the second time this week I've done that. Quarter zip, it's not a fleece. Like, I want to call it a quarter zip fleece, but of course it's not a fleece. I mean, it is, wool is from a fleece. Anyway. It's not like an art, what's it called, polar fleece or anything. It's, yeah, but it's like a quarter zip. I'll put a picture. I'll just put a picture here. I forget that I have the benefits of visual communication today. So that came out. I love that pattern. It's my favourite thing. One of my favourite sweaters to wear is my Lanark sample. I love it. It's a labour of love. It's all over Half Fisherman's Rib. Half Fisherman's Rib, firstly, eats yarn. Secondly, it's just a lot of work. Like I think the row gauge is like 18 stitches. Is that right? I don't remember, but that's not true. The stitch gauge is 18 stitches, but the row gauge is something like 32 per 10 centimetres. But then 32 rows is like how many, oh my gosh, I'm explaining this so badly today. I feel like I got some real word soup in my brain. Half Fisherman's Rib is a 2-row repeat. So on one row you're knitting and purling, and the second row you're either slipping a stitch or knitting to the stitch below. So you're always like one row is actually 2 rows worth of knitting, which takes longer to do. There we go. I just said that the first time round. It's a labour of love. I'd say I love that labour. However, I will say I have a very old Lanark which I have not touched in, I think, the best part of 18 months. And this week I have a wonderful, wonderful sample knitter who made my last Lanark. And I messaged her and I was like, hey, I've got this unfinished one that I've not touched in 18 months and the yarn is all here and I'd like to have it, but there's no way I'm going to finish it. Would you do it? So she's now got that. So like, I'd say it's worth the labour of love, although I'm not doing the labouring. I'm paying someone else to do it for me. So I like the idea of a less intense version. And so I'm working on a stockinette version of that pattern. So I'm still not 100% sold this is the right yarn combination, just in that it's going to be very drapey and I think it would benefit from some structure. But don't worry, I've got a second version planned, so it's okay. So it's got the big chunky collar. I am just about at the body. I ran out of yarn and then I put the body on hold. I think I'd like the body to be a little bit longer, but I don't have quite as much yarn left as I hoped I would. I've got this and then this again. So like 2 sets of 250 meters for the 2 sleeves. I think that should be okay. I'm a little bit worried. I ordered an extra ball of mohair because I've never had this before. I usually find that I run out of the mohair before I run out of the main yarn. And in this scenario, I've run out of the main yarn, sorry, the mohair first. I usually find that and this is logical, but because the mohair is thinner, it has less space to travel over the needle. That makes sense? So it's closer to the needle. So then you end up with more left over because a stitch requires less yarn from a mohair than it does from a thicker yarn. So usually I have mohair left, and both times I finished, yeah. This is what I thought. Maybe I put it somewhere else. I thought I thought I'd only used 4 balls so far. And I'm thinking I had 2 of these little nuggets and I just used one a minute ago. So maybe I have more yarn than I thought I had. I went through my entire yarn stash a week ago, I should know this. I'll check the boxes afterwards. I only had this and then this again in the bag that it came in. But I think I've got another one again. Because I really did not think I'd be worrying about yarn. I was surprised that I was like, oh no, I'm worrying about yarn. But I don't think I should be. I'll check again. So, I'd like the body to be a little bit longer. It's currently sitting at like 20... My preferred body length is 20, well, for a cropped sweater it's 28 centimetres, and I think that I'm quite short on the torso. I'm quite short in general. And it's currently 26. So I could get away with it if I run out of yarn. I'd rather have full length sleeves and a cropped body, but I'd like to add some more length to the body. But I thought I'm at the end of the yarn anyway. I'll go work on a sleeve, I'll measure how much yarn that takes, and then I'll come back and work on the body once I know that. I also have the facing to do, which is a little tiny piece that goes inside the neck, but that will use more yarn than I think it will. I've ordered an extra ball of mohair, because again, the mohair is not stretching as far as the main yarn. And if the mohair doesn't quite match for the colour, I could do that for the facing and it might be okay, it might not be quite obvious. So we'll see, but I'm enjoying this. I will say, I think that the row gauge is very... I think because it's a very light fingering, it's like a 250 meters for 50 grams. I think it's not. I think my row gauge is thinner than thinner. Really, I'm struggling today with words, aren't I? I think there are more stitches per 10 centimeters or 4 inches to this row gauge than their standard would be for a DK weight. So it'll be interesting when I get to the second version to see if that changes. With that, and I think I'm just jumping ahead to acquisitions. I think the yarn I'll be using for my second version is this. It is Tinda from Hillesvag. I got this from the Fibre Yard, which is a new to me yarn store. It's open in Edinburgh. I bought this, if you remember last time, with the intention of making another Affric, which is a cable knit pattern coming in October. I decided a few things. I decided firstly, I don't need another cardigan or sweater. I will knit a vest because I currently don't have a sample for the vest because we added it quite last minute. So I will knit that sample, but I'm not going to make another cable knit sample because I don't need another cable knit sweater. I already have like probably 10. I've got at least 10 cable knit garments. I don't know if they're all sweaters, but I have a lot of cable knits. So I was like, well, hold up. There's no way this is the last cable knit I'm ever going to design in my life. There will be more. I will save my dark grey vision for one of them. But I'd already bought the yarn. Oh, and then I swatched, and this is so fuzzy. This was the fuzziest yarn, and it was not doing like cables. It was not showing much cable definition, but I think this would be lovely for a second version of this, a very rustic one, and those will be so nice together, I think. So that's what I'm going to use. That's my acquisitions. There we go. So that is number 2, and now thinking number 2, number 1. I'm going to go check and see where that ball of yarn is when I finish filming. I was surprised to open today and be like, oh, I really only have 2 balls left. But I'm thinking, maybe that's not true. I ordered if I've definitely got, I was thinking that if I end up with too much mohair because I ordered the extra ball, I was like, that would be a really fun hat, like an orange hat for winter. So if that arrives, then I'll be making a hat too. Okay, which whip next? Let's take a little deep. The next one is almost the same colour. Well, they're both also got orange in them, so I'll go to the one that's not just orange for my interlude. This is in a bagoo bag. It's just a zip bag. I use it sometimes for as like a travel bag. It's got a kind of plasticky feeling. I don't mind it, but it's a big bag and I'm using a lot of yarn for this project, so that's why it's in a big bag. So, Affric. Editing me is going to be annoyed at how many pictures I'm putting in, but it's fine. Affric is a top-down raglan sweater with Colorwork, and I'm working on my second sample. It's flying. I forgot how fast it goes. It's a 17 stitch gauge, so it goes very, very quickly. And are you ready? Are you sure? Oh, that's the back. Wait, I'll show you the front because there won't be so much shadowing. Just make the noise again. It's so good. I tried to be edgy and I tried to want to knit this in like cobalt blue and pink and orange, and you know what? I couldn't bring myself to do it. I think I've still gone quite bright. Like I will say, I think that this is still on the brighter side, but it's not the pattern I was planning to. It wasn't what I was going to knit, but it's okay. I'm using Rauma Phenol, I think, in held double. So this is 175 meters per 50 grams. It's a bit like I guess it's a bit like a sport weight or like a heavy fingering. I'm holding it double. It's making a dense fabric. This is going to be a toasty sweater, which I'm not mad about. It's a 17 stitch gauge. I think they recommend this at a 16 stitch gauge, and I think that probably would be better. But it's okay. I think it would also be lovely with like a fingering and a mohair, and I know that there is a mohair from this. I chose Phenol because there was an insanely good colour range, and I wanted all the colours they had, and they did not have these colours. My alternative was to use Fibre, which I've used before, but the colours weren't quite as good, and I wanted these exact colours. So, as I said, it's a raglan and it's got two motifs, and then they're just repeated. So the first motif, they're very, very simple, very classic Colorwork motifs. This is the first one, and then this is the second one, a little bit more diamond, and I've kept the same colour for both of them. So I've kept the same main colours, and there's contrast colour 1, contrast colour 2, and contrast colour 3, and I've kept them in the same order for both. I thought about switching them up and making the orange the second main colour for the second one, but I just didn't do it. So there we go. So I have split for sleeves. I just did that this morning. I like having a quiet morning. My go-to routine is that I wake up. There are 2 days a week where I don't do the dog walk, but every other day in the week I do the dog walk, either with Sam or by myself. And so I will wake up, either do the dog walk or not do the dog walk, have coffee, and then sit. I find the mornings like the door is going and I've got emails to respond to and there's like a lot going on. So up until lunchtime I don't really usually do any admin unless I've got a heavy admin week and I really have to get admin done. And then after lunch I bring myself to my office and then I do work for the afternoon. Today is I actually need to go pattern writing after this, so today will be a late after. I probably won't finish until this evening, but that's fine. The mornings I like to do my knitting. Usually I get a couple of hours in, between like 10 and 12. I usually make lunch as well. We both work from home, so like it's always a bit jumbled, but I get at least like usually an hour and a half of solid knitting time done. And I like it to be time that I use to do, like I'm not generally just doing plain stockinette, then I'm doing something that requires a bit of thought or a bit of consideration. And today it was splitting for sleeves. So I am split for sleeves. I was worried this was looking a little big, but I actually think it's looking pretty good. And yeah, I'm excited. And now I get to do a little bit of plain knitting. 1, 2. I get to do 7 rows of plain knitting, so I'll probably get that done pretty quick, pretty sharpish. I gave it a steam block. I'm impressed at how much a steam block improved the I'm new to the steaming world. I used to just use my iron. I bought a steamer. I figured that was a reasonable business expense. So I have a steamer. And it's interesting because obviously like blocking helps even things out, but it also changes the yarn, you know, like all the spinning oil comes off and it softens the fibres. Spinning does not do that part, but it does help even things out. So I find that it made a real big difference. Like look at those, like the floats there are so even already because I got steam blocked. I need it from the right side. It's lying. I am not a very neat colourwork knitter. I find that my colourwork is pretty chaos until it's blocked. Yeah, I made a mistake in the second, in the colourwork for this raglan here. There should be an extra green stripe and I forgot it, but I was going to say no one knows. I told you, now you know. But yeah, it's looking very even, and I guess you can see there that there's no if the colourwork gauge was really tight, then you'd see that like it get to here and then it would like it would like concave in. Wow, we're really going on with the sound effects today. So there we go. I think it's going to be almost a little Christmassy, definitely very autumnal. Probably won't be able to wear it for another 3 months until it gets very cold, but it's fine. My first version is knit in DK and mohair, and I kind of thought I'd make the second version in something that would be a little bit more multi-seasonal, but that is very clearly not the case because this one's also going to be toasty warm. Okay, is that everything with that one? I think so. It comes out in a month. It's my next passenger release, excitingly. And I was like, oh, I really need to get going on this second sample, but I'm discovering that the first one flew and the second one is also going very quickly, which is, it's nice sometimes, like a fast project. And on the opposite realm, oh no, I dropped a bunch of stitches and I didn't know I did that. Let me just put them back on the needle quickly. Oh, there's still one dropped. There we go. This is the opposite of that. This is a project which is not going incredibly quickly, but I'm really enjoying the, oh, just did it again. This is a sign that it must be on a cord that's too small, otherwise I don't think this would happen. Okay. So this is a pattern called Taynish, Taynish. Is that right? Taynish, yeah. I thought I misspelled it there. I made a pattern, I showed it last week, it's called Ariandel. I will put a picture here. It is a stunning, in my humble opinion, pattern with this beautiful like textured yoke, and I loved it so much that I wanted to use that texture again, and so I'm making an all over drop shouldered version of it. I'm using Cascade 220 in the colourway Ginger. If you watched the last episode, I did a lot of swatching to work out what yarn to use, and I found that Cascade gave a really beautiful stitch definition. And I honestly think I've got not much to show since last time. I've personally probably worked 10 centimetres of the body, but I don't think you'll be able to visually see that much because it doesn't look like much difference. Ta-da! This will change so dramatically blocking, and at first I was like, oh, maybe I just won't block it till the very end and that would be like a fun surprise, and now I'm thinking that would be a ridiculous thing to do because I'm not going to be able to make sure my fit is right until I blocked it. So I like that idea, but I think I'm going to bail on that idea. I think once I finish this ball of yarn I will block it, although yeah, that should still work. If I finish this ball today, that is the goal. That's reasonable, right? That's not much yarn. Yeah, we're going to finish this ball of yarn today. Hold me accountable. My mother-in-law, Sam and I are not married, so I guess she's not formally my mother-in-law, but we have a dog and a mortgage, so I guess it's pretty much as solid as it can be. Is visiting from New Zealand. We've not seen her since we went, is that last year? Yeah, so like a year and a half ago. So she's coming to stay for a little while. We're very excited, but she will be in, where I'm sitting right now will be her bed, and there's not really space for me to block something. I can block outside, but like the weather's a bit all over the place right now because it's Scotland, so the best place for me to block anything is really in here. So I want to get this blocked before she gets here. She's going to be here for a couple of weeks. So if I can finish this today and get this blocking, I will have some space to do so. What else can I say about it? It has this very like chunky collar, which I really like. It's looking very tight. It will all just like whoosh with a block. And I think you can kind of tell it's cables and 2x2 ribbing. So like it's 2x2 and then you like cross the 2x2s, if that makes any sense. And there's sort of two sort of sets of the repeat. So there's this one where it's all crisscross, and there's this one where you're still working 2x2 with just little cables. But this is just gonna go from like this to like, it's gonna block out so much. I mean, it better block out so much, otherwise it's not gonna fit me. But yeah, it's you know, it's a very, very stretchy fabric. Now I'm getting excited about blocking it. So that is fun. The neckline will also open up with that. And I think something that's really fun is I did a welt neckline, which I have just realised I need to review the pattern instructions for this welt. For the Firth pattern, because I can't remember if I added this or not. I need to go back and look at that before I'll check. Wow, that was a lucky catch. I had like a moment of sheer panic there. I added a welt to this one, which is just like a fun modification I added. Someone in the test did it and I did the same thing. And then this one is going to be part of the pattern, which is very, very simple. There's a video that I used, but I will say I changed up what I did there. If I can find that video, I'll include it down below. But you pick up your number of stitches. You then increase. Now the pattern that I think I was watching does a make one. I just knit front and back all the way around because I find that in knit front and back, the second stitch ends up a bit like a purl on your needles, and that's kind of what you want. So I did that, and then you do some double knitting for a few rows, and then I think the pattern the video told me to knit two together, but I slip knit because I find it worked out well, and you end up with this line. And the reason I did a welt on this pattern is that I felt like it was unreasonable to line up my 2x2 ribbing everywhere, and that's going to be like a real headache for the knitter. So this way you don't have to worry too much about whether your 2x2 ribbing runs into the pattern well enough. You can just do the welt, and it kind of like a break for the eye, and there's not like the lining up you have to worry too much about, because I thought otherwise that might be a little bit complex to include in the pattern. So there we go. It's funny, I have what I share on a couple of different social medias, right? So I share on YouTube, I share on Instagram, and I share on TikTok. And the Ariandel, which is the yoke version, got a lot of excitement here on YouTube and a lot of excitement on Instagram. And over on TikTok, everyone's losing their mind for this one, which I think is funny. The Ariandel is what I need to write up after today, so that was going to get written up today, so off to tech edit. And then this one, the plan is that they're going to release together. Like there will be two separate patterns. So for once, I'm not doing a mega pattern. They're as much as they're very much like of the same vein, there's nothing about them that's similar. I think they may have the same gauge, but like construction's different, stitch pattern's different. So there will be two separate patterns. They're released on the same day, but that requires me to get this one. The other one's been done for like 2 weeks. In fact, more than 2 weeks now. So this one needs to get finished, so I can do that. But that's okay. I'm in an exciting place. We're going away next weekend not next weekend, but next week up north for a few days. And I usually take a new project with me, and I have zero ideas right now. Like there's not even like a nudge of an idea in my head. I could push it, like I could make stuff happen, but I'm kind of enjoying the fact that right now I don't need, like I'm kind of good. I don't need to worry too much about it. I know what inspiration will hit and I want to cast on straight away. So I'm kind of just trying to focus on what I've got on my needles right now and just enjoy knitting what I'm knitting on, because I know that eventually at some point I will be struck with inspiration. It'll be so inspiring that I will feel nauseous. I'll have to knit it straight away, and like everything else will be deprioritized. So I'm just letting myself work on what I'm working on right now, and it's really fun. I'm liking it a lot. I have a few patterns that are with my tech editor that need extra samples in it, so like at some point I'll cast on those samples. But again, like there's no huge rush on them. It's quite nice. It's a nice way, and it's letting me sort of stop and focus a bit more on some business stuff, which always takes a back seat because I would always rather knit than do admin. Okay, my only final thing then is acquisitions. Now I showed you my I-cord machine thing, and I showed you my Tinda. So the only thing left is a birthday gift that I got for myself, which I ordered ages ago. I ordered it like 2 weeks before my birthday, and it arrived this week. It's a stack of books from a bookshop in Japan. I'm trying to see if one of these bookmarks might include the name of the bookshop in it. No, I don't think so. There's like a bookmark in here, but I don't know if it's got the name of the bookshop on it. No. I ordered a book a while ago, which I'm sure I shared, which is Floral Designs. I ordered it via Etsy, and it's like a Japanese book of floral knitting patterns, and it was very cool. And then I ordered directly from them this time with just a few random things that I thought would jump out at me, more for just like a fun way of being inspired. I know that the Japanese stitch dictionary has been very, very overused. It's an incredible resource, but I think every single stitch in that book has now been done by like 5 designers each. So there's no, I don't really want to jump on something just because everyone's doing it. But I did think it was fun to see what might be included in here a little differently to what might be included in sort of more Western stitch dictionaries. And I'll tell you, the floral one was very unique. This one less so. Like a lot of these I have in other, like my Harmony guides cover a lot of these stitches. But let me show you what I've got. This one is cool. This is all lace. I don't speak Japanese, so I'm not sure what this is, but the book is separated by these sections, which is flower, leaf, form, line, wave, and combination. And so it is like a book of stitch patterns, and yeah, they're all split by, yeah, so this is like line. This is what line looks like, unsurprisingly. Then I've got 110 Aran patterns, which is some fun cables. I love a cable, as we all know. Some of them I'm really familiar with, and like some of them are just like, this is really some really basic cables, but then you get into some more interesting, like intricate stuff that's going on, which I thought looked really cool. I flipped through all of these and at no point was I like, oh my gosh, I have to stop everything and cast that on. But that's okay. That's fine. I find something that I am not so good at is like combining cables with something else. I like all cables. So I thought that their combination of cables and lace could be quite interesting to see and get some inspiration from. Number 3, just called the knitting pattern, Botanical, Nordic and Christmas, Fair Isle, Checked, Openwork and Aran. So it's literally covering every single base here. A lot of colour work, which I liked. Something I think I'm going to do is I've got a pattern that came out in the Journal of Scottish Yarns a few years ago. Maybe a year and a half ago now. And it has like these bands of colour work. It's a vest, and my plan all the time was to make it as also a cardigan version. And what I was thinking is that these bands of colour work currently have like a floral motif, but I thought it'd be cool to include different things you could add to them, so you can kind of pick and choose your colour work, because it's very modular. I think modular is not the right word. Modular I'm using in the non-knitting term, because I think like modular knitting is a thing. I just mean like there are different pieces, so you knit these front panels and then you knit the body and then you seam it and then you do the finishing techniques. So I like this page in particular, which has lots of tartans, and I thought it would be really fun to do, you know, something like that where like currently it's floral but maybe your over the shoulder piece is tartan or something else. This one was 55 curious knitting patterns. I think I was expecting this to be a bit more out there. It wasn't quite as wild as I was expecting. It's things like, I guess that's quite cool. Where did that go? So this has like, I guess like a knit purl technique with also slip stitches. That was quite cool. A lot of these were maybe like £10 or £12 each. My total order for 6 books came to £86, and I think that was with delivery. So I ordered quite a few things because I was like, well, I can, because they're all here. This one is a really interesting, it's 120 Burnt Kessler favourite patterns. I presume that's a person. Burnt, B-E-R-N-D, Kessler sounds like a very Western name. Yeah, German, because then it says at the front, have fun something knitting. Any German speakers? Viel Spaß? Something Stricken? So I guess this is a German book translated to Japanese. What I really loved about this is the way it's divided. So these stitch patterns are for 1 to 2 rows. And then these are for 4 row stitch patterns. I thought that was such a clever way of doing things. These are 5 and 6 row stitch patterns. That is like a little bit like something like the Traveller hoodie with the knit purl combo. 8 row stitch patterns is a really nice diamond one, which I've already swatched in the past. 10 rows, 12 rows, 14 to 18 rows. Look at that. Maybe not for a whole garment. What did I say? 14 to 18 rows, and then over 20 rows. And then all these books seems to come with like at the back. Look at that. Like, that's such an interesting hat. So cool. So yeah, they all come with like garments at the end, which I think can sometimes look a bit dated. Oh yeah, here we go. Here is Burnt Kessler. It's going to turn out he's a very iconic knitter and I'm very ignorant by not knowing him, possibly. And then last but not least, I think this is the prettiest of books. This is called, I don't know what this is called, but it's all Colorwork. And what I thought was very sweet is that every one of these swatches is knit onto a pair of mittens. Can you imagine the work required for that? So, like, look at those, they're so cute. But like every single one. So if I just like switch forward a little bit, look, there's another one. Mitten. One more, one more, one more. Mitten. So yeah, I just thought they were really interesting reference text and something to flip through when I'm looking for some inspiration, which I am currently not doing. Brain is closed. No inspiration right now, please. I feel like even sometimes when I say no inspiration, it still creeps up on me, but that's okay. So that's everything for me. I hope you enjoyed. I feel like there's a lot going on, but also like it feels quite nice and even paced at the moment. It feels a bit like the start of a new school term to me, which it's not really, but it kind of feels that way. Personal updates, yeah, the big one is that my mother-in-law is coming to stay for a few weeks and I'm very excited. So we're going to be going up north and doing some walking. It's like our favourite kind of holiday. We're going to go stay in a cosy cottage, spend lots of time outdoors, tire the dog out, eat lots of nice food, maybe drink some nice wine or some nice beers, have some good coffee, you know, like a very chill, play some board games, stuff like that. Very excited. And what else is happening? Oh, so I'm pretending it's not happening, but it is. Tomorrow I am walking a marathon. I'm walking 26.2 miles, starting at midnight, finishing at sometime, hopefully like between 8:30 and 9 on Sunday morning. I will include a link below if you want to donate. It's called the Moonwalk. It's a very like recognised race. It's not really a race, recognised event that raises money for breast cancer. I think it's the 27th time they've done it in Edinburgh, which is amazing, and it's the last time in Edinburgh for now. So I am nervous just because 26 miles is a long way to go. But it's walking, so it's really, I think it's more of a mind game than it is like a physical thing. It's more just about like keeping going. I'm more worried about staying up through the night. I go to bed at 10 p.m, so starting something at midnight feels like a challenge, but I've been going on practice walks and I think I'll be okay. I'm just, at this point I'm looking forward to being over. But I'm doing it with my mum and my sister and my brother's girlfriend, and I think it should be enjoyable. Well, I don't think it'll be enjoyable, but I'll feel proud of myself having done it. And I think walking, obviously like running a marathon's a big deal, walking a marathon is easier, but it's still a marathon distance, so that'll be very cool. And yeah, I think we're almost at our fundraising target, which I think is for the team £2,000. I'll include the link below if anyone. I'll probably be posting updates on Instagram because I will be trying to keep myself motivated and engaged to walk 26 miles. I'm just thinking I'll feel so good at the end of it. I'll feel so proud of myself at the end of it, but I'm nervous about walking for that long and I'm nervous about staying up all night. It's very cool. The Edinburgh Castle turned pink. It's all pink themed for breast cancer, and Edinburgh Castle will turn pink, and we get to like walk a lot through lots of cool places in Edinburgh, which will be lovely. And it'll be like a group event. There's a lot of people taking part, so I think it'll be fun. I'm just dreading it. So if I never see me ever again, it's because I broke myself walking 26.2 miles tomorrow. No, it'll be fine. I think that's all. Next week I am due to be back with an interesting video. I am working on a video about Elizabeth Zimmerman, a bit of a like all you need to know info video essay, which I'm really looking forward to. I've started working on some of the script for that, and I'll be back in 2 weeks with some more podcast episodes. Until then, happy knitting. If you want to pick up your copy of the Firth, you can do so and use Firth 10. And I'll be back, hopefully, in a few weeks. Until then, bye, happy knitting.